and releasing information that, Space Brothers wouldn't be so distant from the idea of God. And, the Roswell autopsy footage probably being a hoax, surprise, surprise. So I wasn't really into it. So I picked up the new Open Minds, and the topic is cool. It's about the nature of alien abductions.
Right.
And which is kind of neat because I was just speaking to Suzanne Taylor, who's on tonight's episode, about John Mack. And John Mack's in there, of course, because of his connection to Bud Hopkins.
Right.
He has a whole segment in the magazine. You got to see this. Have you seen the Open Mind magazine, Adam?
I have not. I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a really high-end magazine, full glossy pages, wonderful. Alejandro Rojas is he's the guy, the main drive behind the magazine. He was
So political in nature?
Well, it's more like exopolitical based than paranormal based.
Okay.
But he was on Jesse Randolph's radio program, UFOnaut Radio, for a long time, and then launched this magazine. And so I picked up that beautiful, beautiful magazine. I picked up last month's issue of UFO Magazine, Bill Burns, because, I didn't get it last time, and I thought I'd like to get it because there's another big story on Bud Hopkins. It's like an homage to his life and contributions.
Okay.
So I wanted to dig that, right? And Richard Dolan's on the cover. That's kind of neat. And then I picked up another British publication. Like last episode was Paranormal Magazine. This one is 14 Times.
Okay.
So this one's pretty cool too. It's got the 14 Times covers a lot of the plethora of paranormal activity. From like this one, for instance, has got like Viking serpents, the petrified cornfield, strange stories of early crop circles, art from the other side, the whole plethora. So anyway, that's cool. So that's my foray. And in the new Open Minds magazine, I've been noticing these news stories of UFO sightings across the board here. I like getting into the magazines these days. It's nice to have something tangible in your hand.
Something tangible is nice.
Yeah.
I've just recently gotten into graphic novels.
Is that right?
I haven't gotten into before. It was really interesting little foray.
Yeah, I got into them too. I really, really enjoy them. What was I going to say? I want to read a couple little clips from Rojas's Open Minds afterwards. Let's get to your meat and potatoes here.
Okay, let's see what I got here. Well, there's been a couple things going on. I don't really know where to start here. There's this great site that I found. Part of this Tucson Citizen, Voice of the Tucson Citizen. It's called Paranormal Old Pueblo. They do like a weekly article or little expose on this day in paranormal history in the Southwest. And there was on July 25th, back in 1977, there were three 10-year-old boys, playing in a backyard in Illinois, and a whole fleet of thunderbirds went down on them and attacked them.
Wow.
One boy escaped the clutches of this bird. But these are generally, a mythological creature, you know what I mean? And there's all sorts of accounts of these things.
Yeah.
All over the place, dating back to the 1890s, where some cowboys shot one. Apparently, marked the description of some pterodactyl creature.
Yeah.
A 16-foot wingspan.
Yeah, Ropens.
Which is intense. But you got to check out the site sometime. It's part of the TucsonCitizen.com.
Okay.
And they have a little article called Paranormal Old Pueblo, and they blog basically about paranormal phenomena, ghosts, hauntings, UFOs.
Let's just say, for instance, that these creatures were real. What the heck could it be?
I don't know, some sort of unfound creature, I guess. I don't know. It could be an eagle, a condor. Condors around that area are pretty big, and they look almost like a giant buzzard. So they have this elongated head, and back of their head is sort of long too.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, nice.
Who knows though? Who knows? I thought that was pretty neat though, and I was looking through that site. I wanted to mention another thing. Brazil. In Brazil, the Brazilian government has decided to make all evidence that they have of the paranormal, of UFOs, of reports of flying saucers, all these sightings, that have been registered to and through the military. They began to make this research available to the public.
Wow.
And it's a big set of quote files, you know.
That's funny because I was just reading an article in the new Open Minds magazine about just that in the news section.
Right, because it kind of comes back now. It's a weird sort of transparency that they want to do this, but it happens at the same time that these Winston Churchill reports came out. Now, apparently, Winston Churchill was insanely afraid of UFOs, and there was like 200 sightings a year during World War II of UFOs. A lot of them, I guess, could be summed up by, this just Cold War sort of technology race where, they might see a plane or a weather balloon launched through the Soviet Union over, say, British airspace or even Canadian airspace, and they would be dispatching fighter jets to go investigate these things. And apparently there was over 200 a year, and not all of them were reported by pilots and soldiers and things like that. A lot of them were civilian sightings, but they would still dispatch, fighter jets and things to go find these. But the cool thing about the Brazilian one is that they're not worried at all. They think that that sightings are really common and they have to be investigated outright. Like everybody needs to be in on what they're,
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because it seems. Hold on now, because
to keep the UFO secret.
Yeah, look, I've noticed governments all across the board, all across the world, from all these publications I've been looking into and reading into over the past year, and I've noticed the exact same trend.
Right.
Everyone's down. You know what I mean?
Same with the Chinese one. I don't know if you've talked about this on the show yet, but there's been the big mass UFO sighting in China that held up airplanes.
Airports, yeah, they had to close it for a day or two. A couple airports, or just the one
for
major?
a few hours or something. I'm not sure exactly on how long it was done, but I mean, people describes in things like it looked like a kite, it looked like a giant insect, it looked like a cigar,
pyramid,
the whole gambit of of descriptions that we've seen throughout time, all accumulating in this mass UFO sighting in China.
Yeah,
shut things down, and now the government is telling the media, obviously, that their lack of rational reasoning is to blame for the UFO sighting. That it's been blown out of proportion by the media.
Exactamundo. And that,
exactly.
That right there is the big dot.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. And this is a common conversation I've been having with a lot of interviewees on the program. That disclosure is not going to come from our governments, so to speak, but from us.
Right,
and that's
from the public, from the citizen population.
From the people who aren't directly involved in whatever project.
It's like a third party.
Yeah,
these sightings, but then again, like in Brazil, they say that plenty of officials and even one president have recorded sightings of UFOs.
Yeah, of course. But I'm talking about not a full disclosure, because Stanton Friedman also believes, like I do, that full disclosure might not necessarily be a good idea in case there's some scary information. Well, that's exactly right? And this was my point about this whole disclosure thing coming from the people, because the people are releasing this information. They're not directly involved, obviously, with whatever it is or whoever it is that's covering up this information about what and who is visiting.
Right.
And is keeping it from us for whatever reasons they may be. So it is, in fact, coming from the people.
They don't have a vested interest in telling us, in a way, because they're funded by these government, subsidiaries.
Yeah, corporate interests.
For one thing, and getting money for something else.
Yeah. So it's neat. So everything is coming full circle here. The community is reuniting, and we're taking back our minds. That's what's happening.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Chinese sightings took out the airport for an hour, and it coincided on July 7th, which was it was a anniversary of the Roswell incident, actually. if you can imagine.
That's great.
So could be something there too.
Hold on now. Look, I have to tell you my own paranormal story from the other day here before we go, now that you mentioned Roswell.
Okay.
Because it scared the crap out of me. My girlfriend and I, we were sleeping the other night. Of course, I try and get to bed at a half decent hour because I'm up so early and I work so late.
Yeah.
And so that was fine. I'm sleeping. It's about 1:30 in the morning. My son is in, his room sleeping, and I'm sleeping. And then all of a sudden, I hear my girlfriend mention his name, like he's at the door. Because sometimes in the middle of the night, he'll walk up to the door and he'll come in, right? Because he wakes up. And so she called his name, and I sat up really quickly because she said it quite loud, and I was a little startled. So I jumped up, and I called his name too. I said, "Come on in come on in here, come on in the room," and waited. Nothing. 2 or 3 seconds go by, and I jump up. I look at Jordan right quick, and I go to turn on the light. But before I turn on the light, I kind of see a shadow standing in my doorway, like 3 or 4 feet tall. Scared the crap out of me. I think it was my imagination playing tricks on me because I thought there was something there. And then all of a sudden, it looked like it stepped backwards behind my door frame.
Oh my God.
And Jordy said, what's going on? You got to get up and check the entire house. So I flicked on the lights, went through the whole house because I was terrified. I was convinced there was something at my door.
Yeah.
And she said, the only reason I called his name is because I heard his footsteps, like I do when he comes to the door. And so we were totally baffled, terrified. I couldn't get back to sleep for like an hour, man.
Yeah, I
But
bet, man.
that's how it ties into that Roswell story, because
The sleeping prophet.
I felt like there was a little gray in my house. So anyway, that's my foray into the whole Roswell connection there.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was scary, man. You don't want that to happen to you in the middle of the night, trust me.
No, I bet not. No. One time when we were playing, I forget what it's called. In the dark, when you have flashlights and you check for people, and you're only allowed to. You have to call out their name and turn the flashlight on, and if they're there, then they're out of the game. Anyway, we were playing this game. It was dark, and it was on top of this hill where I grew up, and we decided to flash the light into the sky. We flashed the light into the sky, and for some reason, something flashed back at us.
Weird.
And did the same cadence that we were doing with our flashlight. And I don't know if it was some reflection of some satellite or what it was, but it was definitely real. It's flashing back in this weird sort of communication with this distant object. It was a strange experience. That's my own personal experience that I've had.
Wow, that's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of those from a lot of people out there in Radioland. I put a call out to all of you out in Radioland to send me submissions about your experiences to unifiedfieldradio@gmail.com, specifically in the abduction arena, or an experiencer, as we like to call it now, or any other stories that you have of the paranormal. And I actually got a letter back from a gentleman
Nice.
that I'm going to share on the program later. So, yeah, continue to send your stories and ideas to unifiedfieldradio@gmail.com, right here on UFR. Atlantic Canada's only paranormal radio broadcast. What else do you have for us there, Adam, on the Exopolitical Pulse?
Well, I'm a little bit tapped right now for that for my material here. Let me see what else I can.
Okay, hold on. In the meantime, while you search around, I want to talk a little bit about the new issue of Open Minds. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. I was going to talk about Argentina's president being urged to release UFO data, but you kind of covered that. And then I was kind of flicking through it, and I thought, wow, this is a great synchronistic issue. The whole reason, the main reason, listen, why I bought this magazine is because alien abductions mean a lot to me, because it's a phenomenon that I'm really intrigued by, and it's happening to a plethora of people, and coincidentally, John Mack, a memoriam, is in this issue, and John Mack was a huge proponent of the idea that a phenomenon was taking place. Whether it's aliens or what it is one thing, but the fact the phenomena is happening is the concrete idea he wanted to pursue. So I picked up this mag, and the alien abductions was on the front, so I thought it's also synergistic, because tomorrow, actually, I'll be interviewing Kathleen Marden, who's the niece of Betty and Barney Hill. And incidentally, what's in this issue of alien abductions is one of the most famous UFO abduction cases in history, the Betty and Barney Hill experience. All the ducks are falling into line for me, it seems like. So that's cool. I wanted to just share something with you. Did you know anything about Paul Hellyer? Him releasing some information about his belief that extraterrestrials exist and they have a presence here on Earth?